GETTYPapadopoulos told the Australian High Commissioner to the UK of Russian dirt while in London. George Papadopoulos, who was a foreign policy advisor to Trump during the campaign, is said to have told Alexander Downer during a heavy night of drinking at the Kensington Wine Rooms in London in May 2016 that Russian officials had damaging information about Hilary Clinton. According to the New York Times, Australian officials passed on the information to the FBI as part of an intelligence alliance with the country. White House lawyer Ty Cobb has declined to comment on the accusations, saying that the administration was continuing to cooperate with the investigation, which is now led by Special Counsel Robert Mueller, to help complete their inquiry expeditiously. The report's claims are the second time the UK has been linked to the investigation surrounding the presidential election. In October, Papadopoulos pleaded guilty to lying to Mr. Mueller's inquiry after he admitted to misleading FBI agents over the timing of his contacts with a London professor with Russian connections. The London professor was not named in the official court documents, but was later identified as Professor Joseph Mifsud, honorary director of the London Academy of Diplomacy, which is affiliated with the University of Stirling in Scotland. Papadopoulos, who was living in London at the time, told the FBI that a UK-based professor had introduced him to an individual in Moscow with connections to the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Wednesday, July 19, 2017, Russia's President Vladimir Putin and U.S. President Donald Trump talking during a bilateral meeting on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Hamburg. He claimed the professor had told him at a meeting that the Russians have dirt on Mrs. Clinton. However, Mr. Mifsud has insisted he had no knowledge of any emails containing dirt on Mrs. Clinton. He denied any wrongdoing, adding, "I have a clear conscience." The White House have sought to distance themselves from Papadopoulos, claiming he was a low-level staffer who only met Trump on a handful of occasions. A White House spokeswoman said his campaign role was extremely limited, and that he was a volunteer. She added, "He asked to do things and he was basically pushed back or not responded to in any way." However, regardless of how large his role was in the Trump campaign, the new report from the New York Times indicates that he may be responsible for the Russian investigation. Claims over collusion have overshadowed Trump's first year in office. The Australian High Commissioner Alexander Downer reported that Commensafe Robert Mueller is in charge of the investigation into collusion between Trump and Russia. The U.S. president has always denied any collusion with Russia and has accused the Democratic Party of using the probe as an excuse for losing the election. He said, "I didn't make a phone call to Russia. I have nothing to do with Russia. Everybody knows it. That was a Democrat hoax. It was an excuse for losing the election, and it should never have been this way, where they've spent all these millions of dollars, so now even the Democrats admit there was no collusion."